Okay, these are the most frequently missed questions from last year's 8th grade air test. So you should have tried these on your own, and now we're just checking our answers. So the first question says, two company manufacturers pens. The number of pens Y company Q produces in X hours can be modeled by the equation shown. The number of pens company R produces per hour can be modeled by the graph shown. Based on the models, what's the difference between the number of pens company Q produces in 8 hours and the number of pens company R produces in 8 hours? So for company Q, we already have the equation, which is Y equals 250 times 8. So Y would equal 2,000. For company R, at 1, there's 200 pens. So we can say Y equals 200 times 8, or 1,600. To find the final answer, we subtract. So we do 2,000 minus 1,600. There's 400. So the answer is 400. This next problem says two linear functions are given. Function number 1 is a table. Function number 2 is y equals 9x plus 396. Select a phrase for each blank box to complete the statements. Statements are about their slope and the y-intercept. So I know the slope and y-intercept of function 2. Function 1, I have to find it. So to find the slope, I'm going to subtract the y's. 364 minus 351. And put it over the x's. 1 minus 0 equals 13. So slope is 13, and the y-intercept is 351. So my equation is y equals 13x plus 351. So then it says the slope of function 1 is, so the slope is 13 and 9x, which is greater than the slope of function 2. And then the y-intercept is less than function 2, because 351 is less than 396. The next question, the graph of a linear function passes through the two given points on the coordinate plane. What's the rate of change? The rate of change is another phrase for finding the slope. So we subtract the y, so we 21 minus 15 divided by 6 minus 3. That is 6 divided by 3, which is 2. So the rate of change is 2. Next question says triangle QRS is congruent to triangle TUV. Both triangles are shown on the coordinate plane. Which sequence of transformations will map triangle QRS onto congruent triangle TUV? So just go each one, translate up 1, and then reflect across the y-axis. For the x-axis, if I go up 1 and reflect, it'll be too low, so it's not A. Translate up 1 and then reflect across the y-axis, it would end up on the other side of the y-axis, so it's not that one. It's also not this one with the y-axis, so it has to be C. We go down 1 and then across the axis. Next question, a runner tracks his distance in miles, y, traveled over time in hours, x, uses the equation, y equals 8.2x. What does the 8.2 represent? So the number in front of x is always going to be the speed, or how fast it's going, because it's miles per hour. So it's going to be the runner's speed. An expression where x represents a whole number is shown. So the square root of 8 plus the square root of another number. We want the value between 4 and 5. So the square root of 8 is approximately 2.8. So I'm going to make x, I can't let it be more than 2 really, so I would say that x has the possible answer is 4, because the square root of 4 is 2, and 2.8 plus 2 is going to be 4.8, which is between 4 and 5. The vertices of E, F, G are at -3, 4, and so on. The vertices of E prime, F prime, G prime are listed. Which transformation? So if I were to just graph one of them, so -3, here's where E is, and E prime is at +4, +3. So it's not a reflection, because there's a reflection over the x-axis, it would be down here. It's not over the y, because it would be right over there. 180-degree rotation would put it down here. So it's a 90-degree clockwise rotation. Which graph represents a function that is linear? Linear has the word line in it. So it's the one that makes a straight line. So this one is the only one that would be linear. Which graph does not represent a function of y in terms of x? So remember that a function cannot have a different input with the same output. So for example, like say this is 3, 0. The next 3 would be 3, 1 in this graph here. So this is not a function. It also fails the vertical line test because it is a vertical line. Okay, parallel lines R and S are cut by a transversal as shown. What's the value of x? I know that this angle and x are equal because they're corresponding. If I can figure out what that angle is, and I know that 64 and the angle that I need are supplementary, so I just do 180 minus 64, which is 116.